What's going on, guys? It's Pete Nova from the Face Off Sports Network. I am back with my Week 12 defensive rankings to help you win your matchups this week. Any questions or comments, drop them in the video below. Hit me up on Twitter. More than happy to answer them for you. But let's just jump right into it. My first defense is going to be the Denver Broncos. Denver takes on the Raiders, sixth in points per game to opposing defenses over the last 5 weeks. And then you have the Steelers going up against the Browns. That game's low total in that one. It's going to be messy. It's going to be wet, maybe a little snow, maybe a little hail. I believe the total is like 38. Denver doesn't have a high total in that game either. And then you have the Texans to close out this tier. So these three are going to be tier one for me. Texans versus the Tennessee Titans. Titans are fifth when it comes to points given up to opposing defenses over the last 5 weeks. I like to look at 5 weeks because I like to look at the season in those sample sizes. A third is usually a good sample size in my opinion because teams go through different stretches. It's a long season, but the Texans get to play at home here, which was a big factor in pushing them into tier one. And their defense has just been getting better and better every week. Then in tier two, you have the Chiefs versus the Panthers, 11th in points per game allowed to opposing defenses in fantasy. If this Chiefs offense could score a lot of points, I mean, they probably can. I mean, on any day they can score a lot of points. They haven't though this year. And so if I thought that the Chiefs would be scoring a ton of points, I would bump them up to tier one, or if they were at home, because you force Carolina to probably have to throw the football more than they want. But that would be my fourth defense, and then Vikings and Commanders right here to finish it off. The Vikings are at the Bears. They're 12th when it comes to points allowed to fantasy defenses, and Commanders versus Cowboys. This one I want to dig into a little bit. I think the Commanders have a very solid shot at being the top defense this week in fantasy. Houston finished as defense number 3 last week against them. Cowboys are first when it comes to points given up to opposing defenses in fantasy over the last 5 weeks. They've given up 4 interceptions, 13 sacks, 5 fumble recoveries. So not just like if a defense fumbles, if the offense fumbles, sometimes they get it back. But on the Cowboys side, they fumbled over the last 5 weeks 5 times and haven't recovered those. And then they've given up 1 touchdown to a defense as well, which was the Houston Texans last week. So that's going to do it for tier 2. Tier 3 is going to be the Lions at Indianapolis. Indianapolis is fourth in points allowed to opposing defenses in fantasy. I do think that this Colts offense may be a little bit better now that Anthony Richardson looked. I'm not ready to crown Richardson like he's back, but they did look competent last week, and I think they can hang with the Lions. If Richardson didn't do what he did last week, I probably would have the Lions as one of my favorite starts this week, probably in this tier 2. But they're tier 3, and that's fine. I mean, they're still number 7 on the week. Then you get the Tampa Bay Bucks at the Giants. Giants are second in points per game given up to opposing defenses. Giants have given up 16 sacks, 3 fumble recoveries, and 3 interceptions to opposing defenses over the last 5 weeks. And you have Tommy DeVito back there starting, who has only scored 17 points, more than 17 points 3 times in the 9 starts he played last year. Then you have the Eagles at the Rams. Rams are not giving up a ton of points to defenses. I'm not excited about the Eagles. I think they give you a decent floor possibly, but I'm not really excited, but they're a good floor play if you don't want to take the risk. Then you have the Cardinals at Seattle. Another divisional game here. Seattle has been susceptible to making a lot of mistakes too. They're 7th when it comes to points allowed to opposing defenses in fantasy. That would do it for tier 3. And then tier 4, the last 2 defenses would be Chicago Bears and the Dolphins. Both of these defenses are at home. Pretty similar opponents in terms of points per game allowed. The Minnesota Vikings give up the ninth most points to opposing defenses in fantasy, and the Patriots give up the 10th most points to opposing defenses in fantasy. So, both are in decent spots as well. And yeah, those are going to be my week 12 rankings. If you guys have questions, like I said, drop them in the comment section below. Give me a like, subscribe if you aren't already, and I'll see you guys next time.